Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're looking into something I think, well, many of us have seen, right?
hmm
Those people who just always seem happy, always smiling, always lifting others up. But what's really going on there?
It's a really interesting question. And our sources for this deep dive, they lean heavily on, psychological insights, coping mechanisms. They suggest that this constant outward happiness can actually be, well, surprisingly complex, maybe hiding some significant inner struggles.
Okay, right. So the mission for today's deep dive is to use what we've gathered from these sources to understand this better. We're going to unpack 7 specific psychological habits that the sources highlight. Habits that might reveal the hidden pain behind that smile.
Exactly. And these aren't just like random quirks. They're often deep-seated coping strategies. They project strengths, sure, but they also kind of signal where the hidden battle's being fought.
Okay, let's dive in. The first habit our sources mention. It's a classic, isn't it? They're the life of the party, always ready with a joke.
Yeah, they make others happy. Often seems effortless. But psychologically, humor here can be, well, a very effective mask. By focusing so much on making others laugh, they sort of shift the spotlight away from themselves.
All right.
Getting that external validation, controlling the mood with lightness, it gives them a temporary escape from what's going on inside. It's managing pain by managing the room.
So that energy they pour into others is also kind of meeting their own need not to look inward. Makes sense. What's the next pattern?
Another big one is how they actively avoid talking about themselves, especially anything difficult or negative. They're fantastic listeners, great at giving advice, but try to turn the focus on them.
And they immediately deflect. Oh, I'm fine, but tell me about you. That whole thing.
Precisely. The sources see this as a defense mechanism. It's often about a fear of vulnerability. Sharing their own struggles might feel like opening up to judgment, or maybe just feeling overwhelmed if someone really saw the weight they carry. It feels safer to stay the strong one.
Interesting. Controlling the conversation keeps them feeling safe. Okay, habit number 3.
Keeping incredibly busy, like really busy.
Yeah.
Packed schedules, always on the go, overcommitted.
So it's not just about being productive then, it's something else.
Not entirely, no. According to the sources, this is often a form of distraction. Taken to an extreme. Fill every moment. You don't have to be alone with your thoughts, right? The busyness drowns out the internal noise. If they stop, the silence can feel overwhelming because the pain might surface.
Wow. Okay, so the constant external motion shields them from internal quiet. That kind of leads into how they handle friction, doesn't it? Habit 4, avoiding conflict.
Absolutely. They steer clear, disagreements, confrontations, forget it. They might agree too quickly, say, it's fine, when it's obviously not. Just smooth things over fast.
Why, though?
Our sources suggest it often comes from a deep fear of rejection or abandonment, maybe from past experiences. Losing someone over a fight feels like a much bigger risk than just, swallowing their own feelings or needs.
That fear. It must link to the 5th habit, too. Extreme independence. They rarely ask for help.
It really does. And this brings up trust, which is highlighted in the material. They might have learned the hard way that relying on others isn't safe, or maybe just not reliable. So they build this fortress of self-sufficiency, believing they're the only one that can truly count on. It's about avoiding being let down again.
It sounds exhausting,
Yeah.
carrying it all alone. Okay, habit 6 takes us back to the start, really. The smile itself.
Yes. That ever-present smile, it functions like armor. It's not always reflecting genuine happiness in that exact moment. It's often a deliberate or maybe even unconscious choice to project positivity.
Like a shield.
Exactly, an emotional shield. It signals I'm okay to the world. And it also subtly discourages people from digging too deep, asking awkward questions about how they really are.
Like a do not disturb sign almost. Okay, final habit, number 7.
They often give fantastic advice. Really insightful, empathetic, wise counsel to others. They seem to draw from this deep well of understanding. But when it comes to applying that same wisdom to their own problems, their own healing, they find it incredibly difficult.
So they can see the path clearly for someone else, maybe because they've walked similar ground, but struggle to take their own advice.
That's it, precisely. The depth of their advice often comes from their own painful experiences. They know the landscape, but navigating it for themselves, there might be blind spots, emotional resistance, or maybe they're just too worn out from keeping up the facade. Self-application becomes really tough.
So if we pull all these habits together, what's the core insight here from the sources?
Well, the big picture seems to be that these individuals, even though they're fighting these significant silent battles, are often incredibly resilient. They're frequently the kindest, most empathetic people you'll meet. They manage their pain not by shutting down, but by actually becoming a source of light and support for other people, even when they desperately need it themselves.
That really shifts how you see that constant smile, doesn't it?
Hmm.
It's less about an absence of pain and more, maybe a testament to inner strength and a deep capacity to care for others.
It absolutely does. And our source material leaves us with a pretty potent thought to mull over. That sometimes the people who smile the most, the ones who seem the happiest, they might actually be the ones who need the most love.
Makes you think, doesn't it?
Yeah.
What does recognizing these habits mean for how you see and maybe interact with the people in your own life? Something to consider until our next deep dive.